Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name's Ryan. In this video I want to show you how I hollowed out a 3D model so I could then print it life-size.
Yeah, boy.
3D printed this life-size Batman bust behind me. You can't really see it because he's massive and he's on this table. I will show you it, but first I want to go through the processes of hollowing him out. So if you don't know how to do it, this is going to save you time, it's going to save you money, and it's also going to hopefully inspire you to 3D print life-size objects without being put off.
Nice.
But then you get put off. You're like, God, it's going to cost me a lot.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
This life-size Batman bust weighs less than 6 rolls of filament.
Damn!
If you like this video, please blast that like button, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate every single subscriber that I've got. We're so close to 2K now, so let's just give it that extra little push. And I'm now going to cut to how I hollowed out the model. And then we're going to do a time lapse of the print. Then I'm going to show you the Batman bust, and we're going to get to painting him up. Before I go, I just want to add, if there's any background noise in this microphone, fingers crossed that there isn't, but if there is, it's because my K1 Max behind me is actually printing right now while I'm doing this video. So I do apologise for the background noise, but if there isn't, whatever. Okay, so firstly we're going to start with the head for the Batman bust. Now I've just opened it up in Mesh Mixer. It's quite small, as you can see. This build plate, and actually my settings in here are for one of my old printers, so it's an even smaller build plate than on my K1 Max, but it's small. But when I did print this life size, I think I printed it at 688%, which I know is pretty random number. Why didn't I just round it off to 690? But it just felt that extra couple of percent meant that I could print off bigger bits in one. So what we're going to first do is I'm going to make this solid. So we need to go over to the left here, click on make solid. It'll check it, and now that's like the smallest mesh density. So we want solid accuracy. I always put it as high as it'll go, and then the mesh density, I'll also put that up to 512. The higher you go, see the bottom right down here, the more verticals and triangles it's going to use, which means the larger the file size. But anyway, 512 should do, and I'm just going to update, and I'm just going to wait. This can take a little bit of time, but I'll skip ahead. Okay, so that's finished, and as you can see, it lost a small amount of the quality, but not a lot. So I'm just going to accept that. Just drag this over to the right. Now we're going to go on hollow, and this is really easy, and we're going to do this for each part. Now you can see on the inside there, that's the hollow piece, I guess you could call it the core. Now I'm just going to, on the left here, you see solid accuracy, mesh density. Now if you touch those, they will actually increase the quality of this hollow part on the inside. Now this would be quite handy if you plan on 3D printing something for casting, because you could print this hollow and then pour, you know, your silicon or whatever into the 3D print, and you'll get that quality out. But we're not bothered about that. We just want quicker print, less filament. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the offset distance, which is the thickness here, and I'm going to set it to 5 mil. Now I'm going to update the hollow. This can take a second as well, so I'll skip through this for you, and it's done. And as you can see, that's got a lot smaller, and that looks hilarious in there. Christ! All right, so we're going to accept that. Now if we do some plane cuts, just for example, if I just cut it here, keep both, this should work. Now separate those shells. Now if I drag this one, press T on the keyboard, it'll then give you the directional things. And there we go, look, the model is hollow. Obviously because of the scale of this, that looks really thick. But if I scaled all this up, which is what I'll do now, I'll remove this. I'll just import my scaled up version. Drag it in here. This is the same model at 688%. Okay, so we're going to do this again. We're going to edit it, make it solid, increase solid accuracy to max and the mesh density to, we'll put that at 512 again, just so they're even. Update it, and that's done. So we're going to accept that. Okay, so now I'm going to hollow it out, and you'll see the difference. So if I set 5mm wall thickness, because this is larger, so you can already tell, look how thin that is, and that's at 2mm, right? And if this, you know, you don't want it too low, you don't want 2mm, because if you knock this over, you're going to end up with a very, very big mess on the floor. So that's done. That should be at 5mm. It is. So we're going to accept. Now I'm going to do a plane cut so I can show you this. So if I halve that down there, and then if we drag it over, do it straight down the middle. Obviously you wouldn't print it like this, but if I keep both at the top left here, if you just copy what I'm doing, so it's, as the cut type, slice, keep both, accept, and then on the left click on separate shells. It'll separate the two halves that you just cut. Press T and then drag, and that is how you hollow a model. And the quality on the inside's rough, but again, we don't care about that. So I'm going to put those back. Keep pressing Ctrl Z as you would for anything else. So that's undone the slice that we did, but that will still be hollow. And then I drag in the torso, replace that, and that's the torso for the model as well. Now if I just actually, if we just rewind a little bit, if I get rid of that, import, this is the full model. This is what the entire model looks like all put together. Now when I did this particular model, which I will leave a link to in the video description, when I did this model, all the pieces come separate. You don't get this full piece put together. I had to put it all together just to see what it would look like, and this is what it looked like. Now that box there is the diameter of an Anycubic Viper, which I believe is about 230 by 230, something like that. This is massive. You know, you're not going to print this like on an Ender 3 or anything like that, or a K1 Max and full size. You'd need to do piece by piece by piece. And a good way to do this, I'll open up Orca Slicer. Now I'm in Orca Slicer, I'm K1 Max settings, and I'm going to drag in the head. Okay, this is the head, life size at 688. That's how big it would be on my things. Clearly, I need to make some adjustments. Now the head will print, which is what I'll do. I'll probably make a slice on the left shoulder, just to the right of that black line, or the dark shade, but I could print that, and then just print 1, 2, 3, you'll probably be able to print this in 4 pieces. So if I show you, if I go to the head, so here's head 1, this is what I sliced the head to. The head was sliced, this was done in 5 pieces. Now look at that, the hollow. And I'll print it at this exact angle as well. I'll print it like that. The supports will get that. But because of how close that's going to be, any supports are going to hit that edge. So you might want to rotate it. There's the second piece. It looks awkward, but it worked. The whole thing is just so much cheaper in filament. Now, if I open this in Microsoft 3D Builder, I know Windows isn't supporting this program anymore, but you can find sources online to get it. Now, I would go to Edit, Split, and then bring it down. And I did print him just above, just below the chin. And I want to keep both. So you'd split. This could take a second, so I'll skip ahead if it takes time. Drag that out of the way. As you can see, there's completely hollow in there. And then you just make your splits and slices where you need to. But I always use 3D Builder because, as you can see, it's pretty quick and it's really straightforward. I'm now going to show you it printing, and then I'm going to cut ahead and I'm going to show you the model printed off, and then we're going to paint him up. Behind me is my 3D printed life-size Batman bust. I've left it in parts, so we've got the base separate, the torso, the cape and the headpiece all comes apart, and I'm going to fill, prime and paint all these bits up individually. I'll leave a link in the description of this video so you can go check this model out for yourself. But anyway, let's get on with it. You know, a cool idea would be if you could get rid of all this on the model, and then if you increase the quality in Mesh Mixer of the inside, when you hollow it out, you could probably do a good pour in there, silicone or liquid latex or something like that. I'm not sure how that would work with PLA. I might do a future video where I experiment with that, because that would make an awesome cowl if you could get it in some sort of latex. Chuck him out of the way and get on with this. Okay, I've got some body fillers here. Not much though, I don't think. I've got a little bit in there, a little bit in there. I'm definitely going to have to order. Yeah, look, not much. So I'm definitely going to have to order some more of this. But this is the big boy body filler that I'll use. But we'll use what we've got. Alright, so I've filled it all in, I sanded it down, and then I hit it with a coat of filler primer. What I'm going to do now is give it a blast with some of this stone texture plastic coat spray paint. I've never used this stuff before, so we'll find out at the same time if this stuff's any good at making this look like it's stone. So I'll cut back in a second and we'll have a look. Alright, so I did try that, but the can clogged, and yeah, it didn't go very well. I got a little bit of spray down here and then the whole thing clogged up and it wasn't going to happen. So I've left the cap and now I'm just kind of letting it overflow with the cap on, and I've been applying it by brush. So I'll just quickly show you what I've been doing. It's just scraping it out and then just dabbing with a brush to try and get this textured stone effect on here. I mean, I don't know if it's going very well. It's not as dark as I want it to be, because I want that gritty Gotham City kind of stone effect. But you can see the difference on the back. There's a back, you can see a little bit here at the top, and then the front. So yeah, I'm going to give it a bit of an airbrush to darken certain parts up and stuff, but I'm just going to get to applying this on and then we'll cut back through. going to leave the eyes white. As you can see, it is primed. I did fill this and sand it. You saw right at the start. I didn't show you for the rest of this video because once you've seen it once, you've seen it. But yeah, I primed it, and then I used a rattle can white matte for his jaw and his eyes. You can see there I just blasted the front of this just to give me a starting canvas. And it's also really helpful to get the eyes done and out of the way, and then later I'm got to come back and try and put white over spray on black. That'll be a nightmare, and I'll be at it for hours. So I did that first, and what I'll do is I'll just touch up around the eyes with a brush. The rest of it I'll airbrush.